I'm explaining a film from 2016 titled The Bad Batch. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. The scene begins by showing a female prisoner named Arlen who has just been thrown into a prison called Bad Batch. The BB 5040 designation indicates that she is the 5040th prisoner. A jail built in the middle of a large desert, where all convicts are free to live their own lives. They are not bound by any laws, therefore they may do whatever they choose. Arlen continued going till she came to a parked car. She approached the car, but it was damaged and could no longer be utilized. As a car approached, Arlen bolted, but she was captured by the odd person. When she realized she was already in a shackled state, someone walked up and injected something into her palm. It turned out to be an anesthetic shot to keep Arlen from feeling pain as her hand was going to be severed. They also severed one of her legs. The guy who brought Arlen's chopped hands and feet to cook later revealed that she is now in a cannibal base where they subsist by consuming the flesh of other inmates. The cannibal headquarters was led by a man named Miami Man. Arlen was dying to defecate at night and rubbed her excrement over her body, making everyone who approached her feel unpleasant. The lady also meant to clean up Arlen, which is where she took advantage of the circumstance and surreptitiously took a crowbar to be used against the woman. Her efforts were successful, and Arlen soon dispatched the lady, while the other shackled convicts celebrated at her actions because it permitted them to take their retribution. Arlen attempted to leave the cannibals' base camp with one hand and one leg until she spotted a skateboard that may help her speed up. She too avoided that location without a specific reason, but now a new problem had arisen. She was terribly thirsty and severely dehydrated, and she was quite weak and could do nothing but succumb. Soon after, someone arrived with a cart, and she was loaded into the trolley and taken away. They traveled for a long time till they arrived at a location called Comfort. At the gate, the Comfort guards quickly took over Arlen and were ready to treat her, while the person who abducted her instantly left. 5 months later, Arlen has begun to recover and is more alive. She even has a job serving residents of the Comfort trade. It is known that the inhabitants of the Comfort are also convicts, such as Arlen, who come from diverse situations, but they continue to strive to live their lives as human beings with dignity as best they can. Meanwhile, despite his imposing demeanor, the Miami guy looks to be a kind father to his child. So, tragically, he also feeds his daughter. However, the menu is made out of meat from fresh convicts because he and his henchmen only eat human flesh. The fresh prisoners will be sacrificed, then slaughtered, and their flesh devoured in this base camp. Miami Man's daughter would go for a walk with one of her maids the next day. Meanwhile, Arlen may now purchase artificial limbs and a rifle in case of emergency. She went out for a walk while practicing shooting. By chance she saw the vehicle that had taken her before. She deduced that they were cannibals who had devoured her hands and feet. When she approached them, it turned out to be Honey, the daughter of a Miami Man and his maid. Without thinking, she immediately finished off the maid.
What you want, I'll do it.
But Arlen couldn't bear to kill Honey because she was still small. Honey herself wasn't surprised by this situation because every day she always witnessed someone being shot. Arlen then took Honey to the sanctuary. The scavenger who used to aid Arlen noticed her strolling with a tiny child. When Honey arrived at the Comfort, Arlen purchased her a rabbit. Arlen wanted to raise Honey as if she were his own child, but when his daughter fails to return, the Miami Man drives to the garbage where his maid had earlier taken Honey. The Miami guy only found out about the maid's death, but Honey was nowhere to be found, of course, because Arlen had kidnapped her. He was terrified till he met the scavenger and asked him if he had seen his daughter while presenting Honey's face painting. The scavenger was aware that Miami Man was looking for his daughter whom he had previously seen with Arlen, but before telling him, the scavenger asked him to paint it first. Miami Man immediately agreed. After finishing painting the scavenger, he told the Miami Man that his daughter was in Comfort. Arlen and Honey are becoming closer and spend a lot of time together. Arlen invites Honey to a nocturnal party hosted by the Comfort's leader. He is the Comfort's fantasy leader. He is the one who encourages his followers to live dignified lifestyles, and the dream also generates its own money, which can only be used in the comfort zone. His disciples were so engrossed in the dream that Arlen, who had only been there for a brief time, arrived late and stoned along with the others. Arlen's inebriation caused her to be separated from Honey, which coincided with the rabbit's release. Honey kept hunting for her bunny until she found the dream and his wife, who took Honey to their home and looked to be taking care of her. Arlen, who was drunk, kept walking until she didn't realize she had walked far enough and crossed the border. The next day, when she realized that there was a Miami man in front of her, he took Arlen's prosthetic leg and asked about his daughter's whereabouts. Arlen also pretended not to know and did not know his daughter at all. Then the Miami man told Arlen to look for his daughter in comfort. If she failed to find her, then he would kill her. A huge, black man emerged not long after and approached them, holding something. The man had planned to exchange with the Miami man, namely the jerry can of gasoline he was carrying with Arlen for the supper that would be provided tonight. The Miami man agreed and handed Arlen over to the stranger. The man was delighted to accept Arlen, but the Miami man clearly lied because, after only a few feet, he threw a knife at the victim many times till he murdered him. Due to a lack of food, the Miami man immediately chopped the man's corpse into various sections. He eventually got fresh meat, a jerry can of gasoline, and Arlen herself. The two of them got even closer because the Miami man really needed someone like Arlen. He treated her gently and affectionately. At night they rested while grilling the man's flesh. Earlier, Arlen asked what caused Miami man to go to jail. He said that he had become an illegal immigrant from Cuba to America and he had also been in prison since he was 13 years old. Then Arlen inquired about the code engraved on his neck, which was evidently merely a ruse to allow Arlen to seize his rifle. A man in Miami dared her to stab him with the knife, but he was shot from behind. When it was determined that the person who shot him was a prisoner from the Miami man camp, the man grabbed the motorbike and Arlen ran to safety. The prisoner who brought Arlen was the 5,824th prisoner, which meant that just a few days after Arlen arrived, the jail had added roughly 1,000 inmates. As the number of people entering this awful jail mounted, Arlen began to wonder about the fate of her life in the future. She deduced that a Miami guy turned a cannibal in order to keep this institution from being overcrowded. Arlen also went to hunt for Miami man, but after going a long distance, she couldn't find him. Instead, she discovered a picture book belonging to Miami man, which had a photo of Honey, his daughter. Arlen assumed Miami man had returned to his base. On the other hand, the scavenger spotted Miami man unconscious somewhere far away from where he was previously shot. The scavenger eventually assisted the Miami guy, treating his wound and feeding him until he healed. After completely recuperating, Miami man thanked the scavenger and let him go of his base without fear of being hurt. Meanwhile, Arlen continued her search for Honey, bringing her photographs and questioning everyone at the hospital, but no one has seen the small child. Until Arlen spotted Honey with the dream's wife one day. The child is now considered their own child by the dream couple, and they treat her extremely well and love her very much. Arlen is determined to infiltrate the dream's mansion when night falls. It turns out that the dream has had several wives throughout the years and has used them all as home guards. The irony is that all of his wives are pregnant. Arlen appears to want to marry the dream, even though he truly wants to marry all the beautiful ladies in his neighborhood, so he promptly agrees to her request. The dream immediately asked one of his wives to prepare a room for Arlen, but apparently Arlen was only pretending. In fact, she only wanted to take Honey by acting to be the dream's wife. The dream then allowed Arlen and Honey leave the home safely after pointing a gun at the dream's wife as a threat to flee. Arlen instructed the dream's wife to exit the vehicle as she resumed her journey with Honey. Then she met the Miami guy, who was overjoyed because he would be able to see his only daughter again. Arlen was then urged by the Miami guy to return to comfort so she could continue to live a decent life. Arlen said that she would not return because they would not allow her to return due to the circumstances surrounding Honey's abduction. Miami man decided to take Arlen to his base after hearing this. Honey, who was hungry, abruptly requested pasta. This was in stark contrast to her previous residence with her father, who had a penchant for consuming human flesh. While the Miami guy himself was unable to grant it, he eventually grabbed Honey's favorite bunny and used it as dinner. Even though Honey was crying, she still ate the rabbit meat because she was hungry. They finally live happily together, along with the end of the film. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to stay updated with recaps of our latest films. Your support would be appreciated. I hope to see you next time.